friends, Kelly here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you my December planner and walk you through a little bit of this planner. And I have this entire printable available for you for free on my blog, and I will be sure to link that below for you. So make sure you go over and grab that if this is something you think will be interesting to you, and I'm going to walk you through it and show you how to put it together and kind of how I use it. So this is my traveler's notebook that I keep for just Christmas. Inside of it, I keep usually some stamps for Christmas cards. Anything that I get for shopping, like Target usually has some coupons and things like that, and any other notes or lists that I want to have handy. So this notebook, this planner, is something that I have printed and put together myself. So this is the printout, and then I just used a piece of craft paper, but you could use any paper you like. You could use pattern paper. It doesn't really matter, whatever works for you. So I will walk through putting it together here in just a moment. So on the cover, all I did was stamp out the year 2020. In the past, I've stamped out like cute Christmas things, Christmas trees, whatever. This year I just put 2020, and all of the stamping that I've done here has pretty much been my own stamp set. This is my Elf and Nerd stamp set. This is Craft Social. You can purchase this on my website if you like this style, and it's only $12, and I offer free shipping. So if you like this stamp, I would suggest you go ahead and nab one of those. So I used the numbers here for the cover. I also used the digital version of this to create the title page. This planner is inspired by Allie Edwards. A couple of years ago, she launched a standalone planner, and I was late to the game, and it was completely sold out. So I took inspiration from what she had created, and I made my own version because there was a lot of things in that planner that I knew I would never use. But I just loved the simplicity, and I loved the idea of having a planner that was just for December. And it was also right probably a year or two after I had started really understanding and getting into December daily, and this seemed like a good fit. The main reason why I use this and created it was to keep myself organized. Some years I fail, some years it's really awesome. But I will walk you through all of the table of contents, what I have created for myself. So this is what works for me. So again, I love having a reason why. Some years I don't fill this out, but some years I definitely use this more for like documenting and journaling to kind of go as a companion to my December daily album to help me make sure that when I go back to do it a year later, I have some notes. So I might put some things there. There is a monthly calendar. This is completely undated, and there is enough space for you to do the a full, well, not an entirely full month, but you could get creative and, you know, kind of portion off some of the days, but is really just made to go through Christmas. This whole planner is made to go through Christmas. I document December all the way through the new year. So just so I have it at a glance, I do have the rest of the days of December and down into January here, and the first, or rather the last few days of November here. So again, I just used my Elf and Nerd stamp set to put in the days. I did stamp this off once. I used the red color. Let me grab that for you guys. So I used the Color Theory pigment ink in Poppy. That is the red that I usually use for Christmas. So I just stamped it off onto a scratch paper and then put it onto the planner. And then up here, I went into my stash and I just found a stamp set that had the days of the week. And so I went ahead and put those at the top. Some years I've just written it in. So we have the December calendar. Then we go into the days of the week. So there's space for the days of the week. There's also a space at the bottom here for any sort of tasks that I want to accomplish in that week. So that will go, again, not quite through the full year, but I have enough space to go through the day after Christmas. And then this is my Advent calendar. So there is a video up now on my channel that talks more about this calendar and why I use it, how I use it, and how I create an Advent gift station, if you will, for my kids. So I'll make sure to link that video for you here. But this is my advent calendar. This is crucial for making sure that this whole advent gifty thing that I did for the girls works. I have 2 pages dedicated to cards and addresses. So I'm a paper and pen girl. I love to have paper and pen. The first year that I used this planner, I went through and I added all the addresses for my family and friends. And I still go back to that planner rather than recreate it every year and write it. But maybe I'll add some new ones this year, new people that have come into our life, updated addresses. And then I kind of just keep building it year after year. Sometimes I'll just write their names and I won't worry about the addresses. And then I also have a column here if I have sent the card. I have a page for decorating. So these are usually notes to myself on things I want to do for decorating. Last year I wanted to replace a lot of things, so I had notes there. This year I have a few things to do, replace some lights, get some new lights. Over on this side, I have photos I want to take. So this has been really helpful, especially when I'm getting inspiration from other people's December daily albums and I see something and I think, oh, that is such a great idea to get that picture. But in the moment of the chaos of Christmas, I don't generally think of that. And it's usually something that I can stage. So for example, I really love the idea of capturing the wrapping paper that I'm using. So now I incorporate that every year, but I need to remind myself to, at some point, take a picture of the wrapping paper, take a picture of the Christmas tree, take a picture of decorating, take a picture of the things that aren't actually maybe happening in the moment, but I want to make sure I capture for the album. So this has been very handy in the past to make sure that I'm capturing those little moments. Then I usually make some Christmas gifts for my family and friends. So I have 2 pages dedicated to what I call handmade Christmas. So I have some lined sections, and then I also have just some blank open pages so that I can just doodle, write notes, whatever it is. And then I have some sections for gift giving. So again, I have lines and little boxes to check things off. I am a list girl, so I love my little lists. And then the way I operate is I usually have, this is a little embarrassing, but I have a whole page for my daughters, Gwen and Lily. And then I keep track on here the gifts that are going to be from us, the gifts that are going to be maybe from you know who, what's going to go in the, I'm very mindful of not spilling any beans, so to speak, because I accidentally almost did that once. So I think you get the gist of what I'm talking about. There are several different gifting things that we do for our kids, and that's where this information would live. I have a second page here, and I usually include my nieces and nephews and anybody else that I'm purchasing gifts for. That goes here. If I'm making gifts, I usually keep that to the handmade Christmas list. So these would be the gifts I'm making, and then I'd also in this section probably include who I'm making the gifts for. I have some meal planning pages. These kind of come in handy for the weeks when, especially we're busy. That won't really be this year, 2020. But in past years, we've got basketball seasons for my oldest daughter. Years past, there'd been Girl Scout stuff. There's, school stuff. There's all kinds of things we have to work around. So to keep my sanity, it helps for me to actually meal plan that month. Even if I don't do it the rest of the year, meal planning that month is so helpful for my stress level. So I have a couple of pages for meal planning, and I would probably operate in that this would be the week of, like for example, right now it's November 30th. Is it? Yeah. November 30th through whatever the end of this week is. You get the point. I usually have a section of recipes that I want to try. For me, this is usually like appetizers or snacks or anything like that I want to try out. And so I keep little notes to remind myself of things I saw. I don't love to bake. I actually pretty much hate it. But my daughter loves it. My mom loves it. So we usually have a baking weekend or a day. We always come up every year and go, what should we make? So I have a baking and cookies section. I'm more of like making the easy candy kind of stuff. Now, I wouldn't even call it candy, just like peanut butter balls, Oreo truffles, things like that. But this is where I would keep all of that information. This won't really apply this year, but in past years, this has been pretty important. I usually end up hosting 1 or 2 things at my house throughout the Christmas season, and we usually go to a few things. So this was something I saw in Allie Edwards' planner where she had I'm hosting and bringing, and I thought that is brilliant, so I put it into my planner as well. This has been very helpful in the past to keep track of what I'm bringing, and then also to remind myself to put it on my grocery list. Christmas Eve, we usually spend with my in-laws, and there's several things I need to bring. There's things I need to make. We need to make sure we bring the presents, and we usually have to run from home to church to their house. So I really like to have a 2-page spread to keep myself organized on the food, the gifts, the timing. That's been critical in the past, to have my little schedule. I make it sound like I'm super organized when all this stuff happens, and this is all in theory. Awesome. Doesn't always happen for me, but I like knowing that I have a place that this could live. Same thing with Christmas Day. We have 2 places to go on Christmas Day. I host a breakfast with my mom and my stepdad and my dad, and then we go somewhere. So I want to keep all of that separate or keep it in place. And then I also have a New Year's page in here because we do have some New Year's celebrations that we do with family and just kind of extending the Christmas season. So same thing, all of that information goes here. I want to try to remember to keep track of things that I'm thankful for during Christmas. A lot of it can be stressful and overwhelming sometimes. And I think sitting down and writing out a list, even if it's just a quick little bullet point. I'm not a big journaler, so I'm not going to write pages and pages, but I do have enough space that if I wanted to. But this is just a really great place to take a deep breath, remember what we're doing all this craziness for, and to just breathe. So I love having a little bit of space for gratitude. And then the last final pages are just blank open pages to put whatever it is that is needed. Some years I write down some scripture so that I can come back to that when I am having one of those moments and remember that it doesn't matter the gifts, the food, the doings, the goings. All that matters is that we are celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. And so I need that reminder multiple ways. And this is also one of those things that I can do, especially when I'm worrying about planning, and then to remember that God has the ultimate plan. He has the best plan, and bringing Jesus into our world was the pinnacle of his plan. So remembering that has been crucial. So that's something I might write in here. So that is the book. Let me show you a little bit about the construction. So let's talk about the printables here. So this is, again, I've designed it to be a booklet, and I've designed it to be printed 2-sided back to back. So I would love to be able to tell you how to do that on your printer, but printers are all different. I print on an HP 4650, OfficeJet 4650 or something like that. And so for my particular settings, when I print, mine does do 2-sided. I always make sure that I'm doing 100%. So often when I'm in the print dialog, I'll click 100% or custom 100% scale. I also, for my particular printer, it prints on the flip on the short edge. I know that's not always normal for my printer. So it's basically trial and error. So I highly recommend you test out 1 or 2 pages just to make sure that you have your print settings correctly. Here's how I put this together. I do not trust myself to rely on measuring, in and up and whatever. But what I want is a traveler's notebook size. So I want it to be, grab the book here. I want it to be the same size as a traveler's notebook. So this is 4 1/4 and this is 8 1/4. So obviously when it's completely open, this is going to be 8 1/2 by 8 1/4. But here's how I have decided to just save myself some grief. I flip it over and start from the inside out. And because I got to fold the pages anyway, you could use a scoreboard or whatever works for you if you want it to be more precise, but this is honestly what I do. I fold it, I grab my paper trimmer, and I measure 4 1/4, trim, And then I measure from, you can choose the top, bottom. For me, I like to trim off at the top. So again, I measure 8 1/4 and cut. That's it. Now I have my inside page. So I would just continue on with that process, one page at a time. Next is just trimming up the cover. So again, because I don't really like worrying about it, I am just gonna fold it right in half, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna trim it to 4 1/4 because I like my cover to be flush, and 8 1/4. Next, I'm going to get out something that I can, some sort of mat that I can not worry about damaging my surface of my desk. I'm also going to grab out some regular staples, not your tiny attachers because that is too tiny, and a regular push pin. So this is how you can put it together without having a long arm staple. This is an idea that I got from Dearly D. She talked about it with creating your own traveler's notebooks, and this is the same thing. So what I do is I just go ahead and again, I'm not being precise here, not measure anything, but I'm gonna just go into the spine. I probably ought to make sure it's the width of a staple. Okay, so I could be more precise. Get out a ruler. You guys probably can't see that one. Let me grab this one. So it's about 2/8. So you could use a ruler. You can use your eyeballs, whatever works for you. We basically want to just put spaces here for your staples. Okay, so now I have my holes. I found this to be the best way to do this. So I take my cover, I line everything up, and then I'm going to use paper clips to hold these together. So I have some paper clips. You could use a binder clip, whatever works. Let me get this out of the way for a second. So I will clip 2 edges here because I don't want it to slide this way or this way. So I'll put those there. And then I will just poke the holes all the way through. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and put in all of my staples and then just use, a scissors or something to just push the staples down. In past years, I have sewn a seam. I just decided that I didn't really want to get out my sewing machine this year for that, and I wanted to just do the simple staple technique. But you could certainly sew it also, or you don't have to do any of this. You can just put it into your traveler's notebook cover and let the pages be loose and let the binding in here hold everything together. Okay, so now just go ahead and fold it up, and there we go. Now I have my December planner all ready to go for next year. So I'll just tuck this one away for a rainy day. And as I said again, I just used an alpha stamp to put my title on there. You could use any stamps you want. You don't have to put any stamps on it at all. You don't have to decorate it or anything. That was just something fun that I wanted to do. Otherwise, this is pretty much ready to go. It's completely undated, as you saw, so this can be used year after year. So I hope that you will head on over to my blog and download this. If you have any questions or problems, feel free to reach out to me. You can either drop a comment below, or you can always contact me via email. You can find that information over on my website. There's going to be a lot of content coming at you guys in the next couple weeks as I am kicking off the Craft Social Holly Jolly Craftmas, and that is coming out starting tomorrow, December 1st. And there's going to be more free printables. There's going to be giveaways and giftaways, and I am so excited to celebrate the Christmas season with you. Thanks again, friends, for hanging out with me and spending some time with me. I'm really excited for all of the cool stuff I have coming for you guys here in the month of December. Make sure that you like this video if you liked this whole planner. If you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. And then finally, don't forget to hit that little bell so you're getting notifications of new videos when they're posted. Thanks again, friends, and I'll see you next time.